Joining us now, Army Master Sergeant Tim Kennedy. He's a Green Beret, awarded the Bronze Medal. Sergeant Kennedy has served in both Iraq and Afghanistan. Also with us is former NSC official Rich Goldberg. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. So first to you, Sergeant. Netanyahu says no to a ceasefire. The U.S. would not do that after Pearl Harbor or 9/11. What do you make of those comments?
I mean, you can't do a ceasefire right now. You've just been attacked. 1,400 of your citizens have been raped, murdered, burnt alive. I mean, the destruction and terror that went through the region was unprecedented. I mean, you could go all the way back to the Yom Kippur War, when the last time that we saw violence like this. And you are now asking them for a ceasefire. They're in a fight for their existence right now. And it is idiotic and insulting for anybody to insinuate that Israel right now should do anything besides protect itself and eradicate the people that are trying to wipe them off the face of the planet.
Yeah, Richard, what do you think what the sergeant just said? I mean, Israel is saying they took out 55 top Hamas leaders, that this is a fight of our lives. It's for the world, too, to take out terrorists. What do you think?
Well, that's right. If President Biden says and believes that Hamas has shown us that they are as evil or even more so than ISIS, then this is a righteous fight by the Israelis to root out true evil and this terrorist infrastructure. And what we need to do is give Israel the time and space to conduct what appears to be a very methodical operation. This is not a rush into a ground invasion. It looks like the Israelis are taking their time, targeting top leadership. As they're on the ground, they're generating new intelligence leads, and they've already seen one rescue of a hostage today. So I think we need to support the Israelis as much as we can and focus our effort not on pressuring for a ceasefire, but on pressuring all of the different sponsors of Hamas, Iran, Qatar, and Turkey, and of course, rolling back what is behind some of the sponsoring of these rallies and protests throughout our own country of these pro-Hamas people we see out in the streets.
And Sergeant, they've got to take out terrorists embedded in a tunnel network 300 miles long. That's the equivalent of, it's the size of shopping malls underground. What do you make of this new legislation by nearly more than 7 dozen House lawmakers, 86 of them led by Congressman Jim Banks, to bring back the Trump-era sanctions on Iran? It would be the toughest Iran sanctions package ever. They say stop the appeasement, White House. What do you say, Sergeant?
I think it's too little too late. But by no means, we saw the greatest time of peace for our nation during the time that Trump was in office. And one of those many reasons was the economic approach that he had with our allies and our enemies. Iran, there is no doubt, they're shuffling somewhere between $70 million to $100 million per year to Hamas. Iran is not the only one. You have Russia and China that love to destabilize any of our allies. And by us allowing them to have access to money to sell oil, we are just further their proxy war that we have to fight. Every one of our enemies right now are being funded by organizations like Iran, Russia, China. We're not fighting them directly. We're fighting these proxies in these non-state conflicts. Okay. But let's call a spade here. This is Iran that is pulling the strings with the money that we've allowed them to have.
So what the sergeant just said, let's watch then candidate Joe Biden in 2020. He was at the time claiming it was Trump who was going to get the U.S. into a war with Iran. Then you're going to listen to NSA Jake Sullivan claim Iran is getting its tough messages from the Biden White House. Watch this.
I said, as the walls close in on this man, I'm worried he's going to get us to war in Iran. Unfortunately, I may have been right. The fact of the matter is there's a lot at stake in this election.
If American troops are attacked by Iran and its proxies, we will respond. We did respond. If attacks continue, we will respond. And I think the Iranians understand our message.
Okay, it's unfortunate because then candidate Biden was wrong. It wasn't Trump, it was Biden. Richard, what is the message that Iran understands? Easing up the sanctions. Biden unlocked $6 billion for Iran last month. Before that, he unlocked $10 billion and stopped enforcing oil sanctions on Iran. We're talking $80 billion at least going into Iran.
Well, let's look at the facts of history. When Donald Trump was imposing maximum pressure on enforcing all of our sanctions, driving Iran's revenues towards zero, and then killed Soleimani, Iran was deterred. When Joe Biden was elected and rolled back that sanctions regime, turned maximum pressure into maximum deference, what we saw was Iran race forward with its nuclear program. The only reason they're sitting on the nuclear threshold today is because Joe Biden let them do it. He chased after them trying to get back to a nuclear deal. So I wrote many of these sanctions when I was a staffer in the Senate. Joe Biden came into office and started shredding them. And so I commend these congressmen who are coming together to force Joe Biden to enforce our sanctions, take away all the waivers and licenses that are allowing him to free up cash for this regime.
Okay, what Richard just said, Sergeant, respond to that, because these 86 House GOP lawmakers, again, they want to codify into law the Trump-era sanctions that were really tough. They want to take it a step further. They want to, quote, gut Iran's ability to fund terrorism, sanction the supreme leader of Iran, force the president to enforce sanctions on Iran's oil sales, stop the Biden White House from providing more money to Iran, and from ever again re-entering the failed Obama-era nuclear deal. It's unclear how the Senate would take this. Sergeant, where do you come down on all of this? Final word.
Yeah, that's not enough. Within Gaza, you have 8 different terrorist organizations, all of which are being funded by Iran. If you look at Hezbollah on the north side, being funded by Iran. Every single one of our enemies within the region are being funded by Iran. How does Iran get this money? By sales of oil. If we do not hit them where it hurts, which is in their purse and with strength, we will never see peace in this region. You want a 2-state solution in here? Well, you're not going to have it if Hezbollah and Hamas are still dropping rockets and sending suicide bombers into every single pizzeria they can possibly find. So we have to gut them, and we have to do it financially.
Yeah, so what the sergeant just said, why does this White House seem sort of dialing it back against Iran? Why are they afraid of Iran?
They are.
Sorry, Richard, I'm so sorry, Sergeant. Go ahead, Richard.
I was going to say, time and time again, we've seen this president be deterred by Iran. Why is he in a nuclear deal right now, which, by the way, is still on the table? Why are we in a nuclear deal today? It's because Joe Biden is afraid of having to confront Iran over its nuclear program. It's easier to pay the extortion racket. So if Iran sees a president who just wants to pay the racket and is afraid of military confrontation, even though we know that would actually deter them if we actually sent those signals, they escalate in the region. We have something like October 7th.
Okay, Sergeant Kennedy, Rich Goldberg, thanks for joining us tonight.